right, so you are in 7th grade. You're going to have to take a writing test, STAR test, at the end of this year. When you're in 11th grade, you're going to have to take a writing test. If you want to get into any type of technical school or college, you're going to have essay questions and stuff like that. So you need to start writing incomplete sentences, and you need to read the question and actually answer the question that is being asked. So I'm going to provide you with some sentence stems on this assignment. You can use your notes, but you need to be sure you word them correctly. So the question says, how is a biotic factor different from an abiotic factor? Many times students will just say, a biotic factor is blah, blah, blah. But they didn't tell me how it was different. You just gave me a definition. That's not answering the question. You stated a fact, but not necessarily answered the question. So on your paper, I need you to write, a biotic factor is different, I can't spell there, different, from an abiotic factor, because biotic means blank, you fill in what it means, and abiotic means blank, you fill it in. And then on the next part, for each of the items listed below, indicate whether it is an abiotic factor by putting a capital A or a biotic factor by putting a capital B. There's a couple of tricky ones on there, so remember, you can ask yourself, is it made of cells? Is it living or once was living? That would be biotic. Is it non-living? Never was living, not made of cells? That would be abiotic. So whale, biotic, rain, abiotic. You do the rest. All biotic and abiotic factors are interrelated. In nature, you'll find that if one factor has changed or removed, it impacts the availability of other resources in the ecosystem. If a construction company removes all of the medium and large rocks from a desert ecosystem so they can be used to landscape yards of new homes that are being built in the area, how does this affect the population of rock-dwelling lizards in this ecosystem? You first need to know what dwelling means. If I told you, be sure you close the door on your dwelling so that it doesn't get cold inside, you would realize dwelling is a home. So the lizards live on the rocks. So if the company has taken all of the medium and large rocks out of the ecosystem, your answer needs to state the population of lizards will, and you're either going to put increase, decrease, or will not change because blah, 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 whatever the answer is. What changes will occur in the population of the insects that the lizards feed upon and the predators that feed on the lizards? This is 2 questions in one, so you have to have 2 statements to answer it. The population of insects will, again, increase, decrease, or not change because blah, blah, blah. The population of predators will either increase, decrease, or not change because blah, blah, blah. On the back, your journal has a very simple food web, and it had very short and precise statements to tell you how to make that food web, and so it was rather easy. You're not going to have that on a test, so you need to know how to create a food web from a paragraph. So that's what we have. In a specific terrestrial food web, terrestrial means a land food web, not a aquatic, which is water, or marine, which is seawater. In a specific terrestrial food web, grasses are the organism that convert radiant energy from the sun into glucose through the process of photosynthesis. Grass is then eaten by insects, mice, rabbits, and deer. Frogs and mice both eat the insects. Snakes eat both frogs and mice. Cougars, large predatory cats, eat rabbits and deer. Bacteria and mushrooms recycle dead organisms to provide nutrients to the soil to be used by growing grass. Your arrows should point to the organisms that are receiving the energy, and I want you to add that you need to use dotted lines or another color to indicate the energy going to the decomposers so that you can easily read it, because you're going to have to answer 5 questions about this food web that you are creating. So if I were to start this, oh, by the way, I don't want pictures, I want the words. So you might write the word grass, and then I like to circle my producers or autotrophs so that they're easy to tell from the others. It says grass is eaten by insects. So if I was going to put insects, then I would put that in a box so that I can tell it's not an autotroph, but rather it is a heterotroph. And so you'll continue with all of these organisms, and then you'll draw the arrows like the energy from the grass is going into the insect. And so you'll complete this food web. After your food web is completed, then you're going to answer the questions. Which organisms in your food web are autotrophs? And so you would write the names of the ones that are autotrophs. Notice it didn't say how many, it said which ones. So you have to write the names of each one. Which ones are primary consumers? Which ones are secondary consumers? What's the difference between predator and prey? List one predator-prey relationship found in the food web. Is there a tertiary consumer on the food web? Explain your answer. Don't just put yes or no. Explain which one is it. How do you know it's tertiary? A disease suddenly appears in the ecosystem and kills 75% of the mice. Describe the impact this will have on the organisms in this food web. You're going to write a complete statement. So I didn't give you a sentence stem here. I want to see if you can do that yourself. I want to see, can you take part of the question and reword it so that it is a complete logical statement. Okay, that is your assignment.